Hello, and welcome to the second half of this Undead versus Orcs game. 1-0 down at half time. The Orcs are driving. They've killed a mummy and a white, and I killed a lineman, so he's still got 11 players in the second half. So it's my turn to receive. Okay, so he's gonna kick the ball. Perfect defense. Okay, just before we go through the perfect defense, just explain why I've set up the players in this fashion. So I've got these two guys back here to try and get the ball. They've both got 3-star player points to try and get a skill. It's two rather than one back here, so for two reasons. One, just to cover through a rock in case one of these guys dies, but mainly so that if the ball lands somewhere here or here, I can move one guy next to it and then throw my blocks at the front on the line of scrimmage and then do my pickups the last action of the turn. Having a covering guy here like this, it just means that if I fail one of these dice and don't make the pickup, I've got a much better chance of picking up from the one square of movement and then moving the rest of my movement somewhere where he wants to be. Okay, and these two guys here, as I cover the blitz action, with the zombie one square out from the line of scrimmage to cover perfect defense, which has just been rolled. These three guys on the line to destroy blocks. Yeah, perfect defense isn't great. It's probably worse than blitz in a lot of situations, especially we've got two bash teams. Okay, so lucky enough the ball's going everywhere. Lucky enough to get a touchdown in the end, thanks to all those zombie fumbles. So one thing that my opponent could have done here, which he has it on this side but hasn't on the other, is position a guy to protect the assists. So when he was moving his players around, I originally thought I was going to come over this side, so I could put a guy here, block dev 2 dice, and then move a guy in here, block dev 2 dice on him. Then I'd have a safe spot where I could cage up. Putting this one guy here is preventing me from doing that. But my opponent hasn't done it on this side, so I can move my guys on here to try and get the 2 dice block on that Black Orc. Already slightly on the back foot because of the perfect defense. Just try and see what I can make out this turn end. Let's see where we are. So I just want to one single mummy left. I want to keep him involved with the ball carrier as much as possible, not get him isolated. That's not nice. We're on turn 1. That's the unfortunate thing about Blood Bowl 2 or Cyanide Blood Bowl is that the 2 games I won with this team have both ended in concessions, and so it's quite hard to skill these schools up whenever you would score touchdowns, the other guy concedes. So slightly annoying. But yeah, as you can see, I've managed to get these guys round to have a 2 dice block on that Black Orc. Okay, so I'm going to take this 1 dice block on the Black Orc here to free up this blitzer. This zombie does have block, so it's not safe that no one would have been. Even if he didn't, it still would have been better to make the block rather than the dodge. They've got the same chance of failure, 1 in 3, but it's just a case of where the armor roll falls should the failure happen. So if it's the failed dodge, then it's an armor roll on the white, obviously more important. Failed block, it's an armor roll on the zombie, which is less important. Also, there's a chance that if you do get the success, 50% of successes on a 1 dice block are knocked down on the other guy. So that is an additional bonus, should that work. So you've got, even without the chance of knocking a guy down, it still will be better, but with the considerable bonus upside of potentially knocking him down, that's another bonus reason. Yeah, so just trying to eye up a sideline, see if my opponent overcommits, just try and defending it. Just trying to get myself out of trouble with the perfect defense, which is the problem with perfect defense is that it's not the turn 1 itself, which as you can see I've escaped a little bit, is that it bogs these guys down, these zombies down, and this zombie here and these guys, in a situation where they're just going to get blocked every turn until they die now. Whereas without that there, I would have been able to be much more proactive with them. Okay, so yeah, they're getting blocked a little bit. My opponent's done a good job covering here. He's brought his guys around to dissuade me from going down the sideline, but he hasn't overcommitted by putting people right up against it to stop me going down. So he's made it so that if I do go down there, I'm just going to get myself destroyed. It's going to be a terrible position for me, like having a cage around here somewhere. That would be a really bad spot. So yeah, very good play. Not overcommitting, but just blocking off that sideline. Yeah, this is the unfortunate part, because what I'm trying to do normally is sort of offer one sideline, or potentially me going down one sideline whilst then pivoting back round upon these guys, but the further defence has cut this off, so now I'm kind of stuck. So yeah, I'm just trying to get my team back into the shape that they would have been in normally. So just trying to form a nice cage out of contact with any of the Orcs, so I can then use it as a platform from which to start my drive. So been able to do that here. Get my guys back into a little cage. So let's block off this troll. Yeah, but you can see here these guys just cannon fodder at this point. They're not doing anything valuable for me. The best they can do is just not die, really. It's good turns for my opponent. He's identified that the mummy is the thing that I'm trying to pivot around. That this is the chance of me making forward momentum. So I decided to take that out. Fortunately, the stun it's incredible there. But yeah, even if he could just mark the guy down. If he can take that mummy out of the equation positionally, then he can start, getting strength 4 players against strength 3 players and really start pressuring my cage. Yeah, he's identified correctly that I'm going to want to make a breakaway at some point, and keeping a guy back here to defend. So yeah, I'm just trying to under a lot of pressure from that perfect defence, just trying to stay in the game basically. Just trying to work a position where I can use my higher movement to potentially make a breakaway. But I don't want to be overcommitting and making a breakaway too early in the half, because that's going to, best case scenario, lead to me scoring too early. Could have done without these burning these reels early, but that's fine. So yeah, as we can see, taking out that mummy has mean I've had to have to move this way to try and get away from the bulk of his slower players. So what I did there with this skeleton, so I could have just moved there without a go for it and just marked this prone guy here. I decided to make one more go for it to try and mark this Black Orc, who's obviously an important player for him. Just to try and stop this strength 4 guy getting round and interfering with this sort of screen cage. When I'm slightly under the cosh, you want to make a few extra little tiny risks to try and slow your opponent down. Again, my opponent's coming around to try and block off my route down this sideline quite correctly. Nice little play from my opponent here. So he's chain pushed this Black Orc out of this Scotland's tackle zone, so negating what I was talking about. But yeah, good play. I think one thing probably should have. This is this guy probably should have moved one square further forward. Mark the ball carrier, sucking in my blitz action for the turn potentially, or forcing me into a very risky dodge roll. Yep, starting to really leak players at this point. Again, as I said, that's purely down to the Pfeff defense. It's given him 6, 7, 8 extra blocks that he wouldn't otherwise have had, and actually that's told, as it will do. Yeah, so I've made this block with 2 left block first, because I know that I'm going to go for it to blitz with this guy. So even though I rolled a push here, I decided to follow up. I just need to do something at this point, just get involved and see what decisions he makes. Okay, so this may not look like much of a cage, but I think it's pretty solid. All of his fast players are around this side, so I've protected this side. These guys are Black Orcs, they can't really reach the ball carrier. This guy's a lineman who can't really reach the ball carrier, and these 2 guys are effectively stopping the troll, freeing up a space for him to come through, to blitz through this angle. So you don't always have to have just a standard X cage every turn, you can just be a little bit more if needs be. Okay, so this, I think, this turn is a little bit of overcommitment potentially from my opponent. Moved a few players a bit further forward than maybe was necessary. So although these guys are coming back to protect the breakaway, all of these guys pressuring quite deep into my half has given me a chance of maybe getting out. And in the end, this is the crucial point of the drive, I think, for me. So he's blocked this guy and not followed up in order to get a 2 dice block on this mummy. Now, whew, he's killed the mummy, and the mummy does not regenerate. But I still think that is the thing that has allowed me to get forward as in my next turn. If you'd have followed up here, and maybe I didn't take the 1 dice on the mummy, I would have been in a much worse situation. Because I can break into his half. I could have done that at any point in any of the previous turns, but it would have been on my own, and he would allowing the Orcs to blitz him. But this guy here has given me a player who can become the front of a cage, so I can get this ball carrier out and into a scoring position. Which at this stage, with multiple players down, our perfect defence having put me on the back foot, that's all I'm looking for. I've just been looking to hang in there and find any potential for me of getting a draw out of this game. So at the start of this turn, the first thing I do is dodge for the ball carrier. Now, if you've seen in my other videos, you were thinking, well, that's completely out of character. But there's a point where you just need to understand that this is as good as it's going to get. This has given me a chance. This zombie here has given me, skeleton here has given me a chance to get into his half with a cage. I don't think that's going to happen in any future turn. It's just going to crush me. If I'm passive and try and form a cage here, it's going to be game over. He's going to win 2-0, and that's going to be that. I'm going to have to make some positive risks on this turn, which should be 3-up dodge with button rerolls to try and get into his half, into scoring range. So I'm going to make this dodge with this ball carrier first. And I haven't used dodge skill, and then I'm going to go through this square and make a second dodge, which again may seem like an unnecessary risk, but I think it's crucial because It's allowed me to make these 2 go for it. Second one using the reroll. That makes the cage possible in his half. If this guy doesn't do the second dodge and only ends up there, then the cage line will be here, which will be next to this Black Orc, which means that he'll be able to get into it. So he really needs to get into this position. So again, as I was saying, get to the point where this is as good as it's going to get. This is the turn. You just need to do it this turn, and making some dodges with the ghouls is really not too bad of a situation considering how bad the drives have been going. So I'm more than happy to take that. More than happy to make these dodges with these ghouls to hit a cage with a guy in scoring range. Again, I decided this is the turn. This is the turn I'm going to go for it. This is the turn we're going to try put some pressure on and make positive risks. And in this case, again, rolling this 1 dice block, just trying to be as proactive and as in this turn as possible. No time for passive plays. Just this is the turn. Again, you can see these guys committing around here has allowed me to make this breakthrough over here. The way to, you may have seen some of the previous videos, I defended over 8 turns essentially. So normally you just have more people back, trying to never give him an out, never give the opponent a way to get through, even with dice. This situation has given me, still to roll some dice, still to get a little bit lucky, but it's all you can do sometimes. Just hang in there and hope for a good chance, a fair chance of getting through. Okay. So, on this turn, he's managed to get some guys back around and gets people back involved, but that's fine. I've still got this position where I can score. I've noticed that there's a go for it though, and I haven't got any rerolls. So I haven't got any rerolls. And I also, this turn, turn 14, if I score now, it's going to be 3 turns to score with a massive man advantage, and that's going to be pretty likely. So trying to avoid a go for it in the reroll, and also trying to get a draw out of the game. The best chance is probably try and stall at least 1 more turn. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Because this Black Orc's here, there's going to be a 3-up with a reroll somewhere. So even if it's dodge to the ball carrier, but if there's chances of dodging him or dodging someone else, so exactly the same, I might as well just dodge someone else, so that if it fails, it's not the ball carrier going down. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to make a few more reasonably likely actions to give myself a chance of stalling 1 more turn. So that's a 89 chance, but not with the ball carrier failing. The splits here is another 89 chance. That allows me to get the school back around here, and then I can move my ball carrier into a much more forward position without having to risk to go for it, make a dice rolls with him. So you can see in the previous turn I made a lot of dice rolls. First dice roll, the turn with the ball carrier, because that was the thing that had to happen. If I was going to do anything in this half, it had to be then. We're now in a situation where we can ease back a little bit off the throttle and start trying to protect the ball carrier from failure. I've put this guy here before I roll the block with the thought about where this guy's going to end up at the end of the block. If there's a pushback or a pow, this guy's going to end up here. This is a good little way to protect your ball carrier. You can use your ball carrier to sort of almost form a cage around the guy, so giving him no empty squares to dodge into to get the blitz on the ball carrier next turn. So yeah, this is the thing about just trying to, first few turns of the half, just trying to be, I was being quite passive, just trying to work an angle. Now, the longer the drive goes, the more out of position Orcs can get, not through anything that the coach has done, just because they're slow. And thankfully I've survived that, so that was a 3-up dodge because he's agility 4 and a 5-up to try and get it down, so lucky enough to survive that. But giving him that chance was probably a better odds of me getting the draw out of the game than doing the go for it without a reroll and giving him an all extra turn as a result of it. Okay, turn 15. So again, I'm thinking, wow, could I get one more turn of stalling out of this? I still don't want to give him 2 turns. So I'm thinking there's a potential of blitzing this guy, and if he goes down, there's a fair chance I can properly stall out. I can get myself in a position where he can tag the ball carrier on my turn 8 of the drive, but I will still have a dodge out into the end zone with no tackle sounds on it. So if I can put the ball carrier there, a guy there, and a guy there, with this guy on the floor over here, then I've got a really good chance of scoring. And leaving him that opportunity is probably more likely for me getting the draw out of the game than were I to give him 2 turns to score. So just sending all my players just in case everything fails, obviously. Always got to blitz the skeleton, he is the danger man. As it turns out, I don't get the power and I get the push, and in that case I've decided that I have to score. Is there a wrong way of effectively stalling at that point? Okay. So the defense is quite similar to the previous ones, but there's a key difference is that these zombies are spread out as far as possible rather than bunching together. At this point, offering blocks to my opponent or attrition on his behalf is much less value. It's obviously a lot better to kill someone on turn 1 than it is on turn 15. And so at this point, I'm worrying about position much more than I am worrying about losing players. In which case, these guys out here, he doesn't want to block. He wants to get his players into my half. He's got 2 turns to score. And this guy, these 3 guys over here, means that he's tying up at least 3 of his players, potentially more. If I just put one guy there, he can just ignore him completely. He doesn't even have to put anybody next to him. He can just put his line of scrimmage guys over here like this. Sorry, put 3 guys here. He can just put one lineman here, one guy here, one guy here. And that only tags one of them. He can just ignore it completely. So this is the preference. He wants to just try and get guys into my half, and this offers more opportunity to stop that. So yeah, fairly classic 1-turn offense. He's got a fairly good shot here. He's got a thrower and an agility 4 blitzer. 2 rerolls in the bank. So yeah, just trying to quite sensibly try and get as many potential scorers into my half as possible. Can't go wrong with that. Look after the ball, very good. Yeah, so he's just doing this absolutely right. Just trying to get receives to my half whilst marking as many of my players as possible to stop them getting back to mark his receivers. Lucky enough, this block fails. So I've now got 5 players free. at least on my drive, on my turn, my final turn of the game, to try and stop him scoring. So just mark those two guys up very nicely. 2 on 1 now. So I've got 5 players against his 3. So you'd be thinking, oh, you really want 6. You want 2 on each of the guys just to mark them up properly. But you can actually get an effective 6 by putting your players in the right place, making the blitz work at the right angles. So yeah, these 2 guys are closest together. So if I can blitz one of them, and I can get the guy who blitzed to come round and form the pocket, hopefully he goes down. Yeah, so blitzing him with the aim of coming back around here. Unfortunately, he's didn't go down, but he's furthest away from all of the Orc players. So these guys are more important to mark because these are the people that are potentially free to come and blitz one of them off. So this guy's furthest away from those, so he can get marked once, and if I can make this dodge, twice, which I do, so yeah, that's okay. So it's basically all I can do with no reels at this point. I just try and make him roll as many difficult dice as possible. Okay, it's time for hero mode. Catch and tackle zone, dodging through tackle zones to score, and thankfully it didn't work. So that's it. End of the game, 1-1. And that's a really good example of how you can just try and get a draw out of a game where things go really quite badly. Just trying to stick in it, look for an opportunity, and then when the opportunity comes, realise that is the time to go, and then take advantage at that point. So that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. As ever, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and that will help me now to make some more. And know that people are actually watching. And finally, quick shout out to my patrons. So if you like this video, you can always drop me $1 or $2 just to say thanks and keep making this kind of stuff. I'm also running a number of patron exclusive guides. So I'm going to write 1 guide for each of the 26 teams available to use at the World Cup in Dornbirn. And those are patron only exclusives. So thank you for watching. Hopefully see you next time.